The one thing that you told me last time that stuck with me, I was bullied in school before, and you were bullied in school, but you were bullied in Bali for the color of your skin, that it was too dark in Indonesia, where everybody is dark.
Mm-hmm.
You need to tell me about it again.
Mm-hmm. So, are we actually starting now?
I don't know. We just got. We just stuck. Don't worry about that.
So, it's really interesting. Yes. So, this is actually one of the biggest topic in Bali in the society, especially among females. That for a lot of people, most of them are actually thinking that being or having lighter skin and straight hair, that's beautiful rather than being the opposite. And I'm quite the opposite because I have tan skin and I have curly hair. So, I was also bullied because of that. And sadly, it's always been that way. Like a lot of people that I also know also experience the same thing. But it's not something that we can change about it. So, one thing that I actually learned from that experience is that you cannot really judge all of these people who bullied you, even though it sucks. It's painful because you grew up with it. You grew up with all of this negativity around you, and I learned that a lot of people who actually bullied you, it's because they don't feel confident about themselves. They have self insecurities, and that's also came from the family or their childhood trauma. So
Okay, so you forgive them.
yeah. Mm. Ah, okay.
Oh yeah.
So we are starting already, or this is just a training.
A training. We're in
This is
training.
this is a test, or we are already starting. Ah, okay.
It's called rolling start. So you
Rolling
don't know when we
start.
start. We just chill.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah, and we start when it starts. Um, okay. So we need to repeat then, so it doesn't clack clack. Yes, Chris? Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna get back to bullying. Um, Another interesting thing that last time you talked about, and you talked about it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, huh, this is interesting. So your grandfather was the king of your village. He came from this village, what is it, east of Bali,
East of Bali.
called Karagasam, and your grandfather was a king, but he wanted to treat people fairly
Mm-hmm.
because there's a caste system in Bali.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me.
Oh, we're going deep into that topic now. Yes, it's true, and also that's something that I don't want to really talk about because, yeah, again, in Bali we have this thing of having the caste, the highest caste, and middle, and then the lowest. And I was lucky enough that I was born into this beautiful family that has this caste, which is my grandfather, who was the king of Karangasem, which is east of Bali. And there was a time where he was making an announcement. I don't know how did that work in that moment, but it was like a long time ago when he decided to not use our family name because he wanted to treat everybody the same, because there's always this society of being like you treat them differently because they have the highest caste, and then you treat them also differently if you have the lowest caste. And it's always been happening like that, especially in the marriages. Like you cannot, some family wouldn't let you to marry the person that you love. It's because of the different caste. So
Yeah.
you have to marry somebody that has the same caste as you, so then you still keep that maintaining your status of in a, being the kingdom, all of this
Yeah.
family. So yes, that's true.
And even though you come from this noble family, and in Bali, I just want to point out people like, oh, she's probably so rich because her grandfather, the king. That's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
you came from family that was not rich.
Mm-hmm.
You just your grandfather was a king
Mm-hmm.
of this village,
Mm-hmm.
and even though you come from this caste, you were still bullied in school
Mm-hmm.
for being too dark.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I will answer the first question of um, being told that I have everything because, coming from this huge caste family, and in reality, that I'm not actually one of them or one of the richest kids because this everything that everybody's talking about, the land and everything, it's actually coming from the family, from the grandparents. And I was taught by my dad that something that is not yours, it's not yours. So basically, what we own in the family, it's actually not ours, not something that my dad was working hard for, but it's the family inheritance.
Okay.
So it's completely different. And I was taught that way since I was a kid. So that's why I was also, yes, I was lucky enough to be born in a very simple family, even though maybe a lot of people or kids would say that it's the opposite because then you wouldn't be able to experience a lot of things when you were a kid. And it is true, I was missing a lot of things when I was a kid that that probably other kids experience along the way, right? But I'm always so thankful for the experience because that made me the person I am today. And if it's not because of those moments, I wouldn't be achieving all of these things that I'm to this point now. So
Yes, but the question I have is, even though you come from the caste, so people in school know that you are from this noble caste, they still don't care, and these kids still bully you. 'Cause I guess kids don't care. They bully
yeah,
you for a color of your skin, that you are
absolutely.
too dark.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's always been the case in the society that being too dark or having curly hair, you're not beautiful because they always have this mentality of being that to be beautiful, you have to have lighter skin. And also, as you mentioned earlier, that they're just kids, they don't even understand all of these things of like who's important and who's not. And also, I didn't even discover this story of having the cast until recently,
Yeah, really.
until probably in my teenage life. I didn't know about any of this, and my dad was just happened to share it out of nowhere, and he was like, "There's something that you need to know,"
Yeah.
and so yeah,
Wow.
and I was growing up just being this complete simple girl who has tan skin and curly hair, and
Yeah.
I'm proud of it.
That's great. You look amazing.
Thank you.
And to make a point that you didn't come from rich family, there was this story we talked about before in a previous podcast where uh, the doctor told you that you were malnutrition and that's why your knee was hurting when you were training.
Hmm. Yes, that was true. And I think I always believe that everything happens for a reason. And that moment, these moments of having challenges and just it seems very impossible to actually go from that and how to actually overcome your struggles. It was a really sad story, and but also it made me realize that it happens for a reason that I'm going to take that as a way to motivate myself to overcome that.
Tell the
And
story, tell the story.
oh my
People
gosh,
don't know.
okay. So I'm gonna start from the very beginning, but going to keep it very short.
No, no, no. We have time.
So
Go for it.
I grew up in swimming, and I started becoming a competitive swimmer since I was 7. And since that moment, I just really, spent a lot of times in the water and training and like really losing a lot of my childhood moment of being with friends and discovering new things because I was so dedicated to my swimming. And that was also the reason why probably like I was overtrained because maybe in that age I was not supposed to be training so hard like other or older age group would actually have to do. So, but it's because of this fiery inside me that I really wanted to change my life so bad for me and for my family, and just really show myself that out of all the negativity of being bullied and everything, just to really show myself that I can do it, that I have this power inside me that would change everything. And so like I just kept pushing and always so dedicated to all my training. And then there was the time where I think it was around 9 or 10 years old. I was experiencing this knee pain, but I just kept pushing myself. Like I didn't want to stop. And then my angel mom who passed away, she took me to this clinic that was happened to be a free consultations and free treatment down in Denpasar, down in the city. And the doctors were happened to be Korean, so they were giving this really nice facility to help local people to, have some treatments. And then it happened that she told me, I'm not quite sure what happened in that moment, but I think it was more like the tendons or the muscles that was just not like strong enough, probably. And then she told me that it was mostly lack of not having nutritions that I was supposed to do because supposed to get because I was training so hard that my body didn't recover as how it's supposed to be, and so it created that pain on my knee, which is we call it an injury. And then since that moment, I just really try to not take it so much because it was painful to hear that, and also like just seeing my my mom who, I'm sorry guys,
That's all right.
it's just always so hard to speak about her because I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Because she always wanted to try something for me and always wanted to support me so that I can always continue my career in swimming. And just seeing her really sad in that moment because she knows that maybe it was something that also the fault of my parents,
Uh-huh.
just really cracked my heart into pieces, and that made me like I can't stop, and I can just let this happen, so I had to keep going, and I told the doctor it's okay, I'm gonna be okay. And so I continued to keep on going, and so yeah, here I am. But there are more any more stories from that happened. So
Yeah,
yeah.
there are so many of those crazy stories. So you came from the small village in eastern Bali, and you became one of the top triathletes in Indonesia in a very, very young age, just with a sheer drive.
Yes, I sometimes, when I'm looking back into the stories that I went through, now 10, 12 years ago, sometimes I couldn't believe from where did all of this power came from in myself, because I went through some crazy crazy moments in my childhood, in my teenage life, in sport, and sometimes I ask myself, how did I do it? Because it seems very impossible, and became one of the top female triathlete in Indonesia and all the country. And it was tough because the competitions was difficult because I was racing against women who probably has better equipments in triathlon, because in triathlon it's not only about skills, of course it's skills, but also equipments that you're using, especially the bike.
Yeah, let's share the story about the pink bike.
Oh my gosh, yes. So I started my triathlon journey when I was 14, and that was just because before it was just before my angel mom passed away, 3 months before. And it was kind of like a way of wanting to do something that would challenge me to get away of my pain because I lost somebody in my life that was so important. And I was only training for 3 months, and there was a really lovely lady who was becoming a friend of mine and also a coach of mine for running because she's a great runner. And so she trained me for the whole 3 months to prepare for this competition, and also alongside of that, my coach and of course my supportive dad. Then the competition happened, and then I still didn't have the bike. And then my sister happened to have this nice pink bike that was a mountain bike. It's not even a racing bike. And then she said, "You can go with this." And I said, "Okay, I'm gonna give it a go. So let's do this." And my dad was actually, for the first time in my life, I saw my dad was doubting my my confidence in that moment. I think it was a mix of him not having the woman that was always supporting him in his life for the few years before, and also a lot of bunch of stuff that he probably experienced in that moment that made him to be like a little bit softer than he was used to be. He was saying to me that it's okay, you can just skip this race or keep going, but just don't push so hard because I know that this is probably out of your league. You've been training for 3 months, and then there was another big competition that I had to attend for swimming before. And so I told my dad, no, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna be okay. So, we went to the racing venue, and in that moment, my dad was dropping me with a truck because at that moment, my dad was actually a truck driver. So we went into the resort, we entered the resort, and the two securities guy were actually stopped us because they were like, "What are you guys doing here? You should use the other road," or, you know. And then I explained to the security guy, I'm here for the race. And then he was like, "Oh no, we have to check your truck. What's in the truck?" And then in the truck was my mountain bike. And then he let us pass through. I remember in that moment before the race start, and I was praying to God, and I really believe in this, we call it energy, because there are three different energies: fire, water, and earth. And since I'm going to play with three of it, I was praying in the corner. I was telling myself, I really hope that the waves are going to be very big.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I said that to myself, and that was actually because I know that is my strength. Swimming is my strength, and plus that I also learned how to surf since I was a kid. So for me to see big waves is like an adrenaline for me to go. And probably for a lot of people, I know that many people wouldn't be experiencing that if you're not a good swimmer, and then if you don't surf. And so it was like, okay, so let's do this. And then in that moment, the wave was happened to be so big that I was right in the front line with all like probably 1,000 of triathletes ready to race. And so the moment when they started the race and I just swam the whole way, I was the the second female out of the water and the fifth swimmer that was out of the water from among thousands of triathletes. And so I just ran quickly, get my bike, and ride the whole way. And I was remembering that my dad was actually following me with his scooter alongside the race. And that was really motivating for me. And I just kept pushing myself and remembering that the only person that you need is yourself. and I don't need anybody else to believe in me, and so I can do this. So I just kept on going, and I finished the the ride, and then I ran, and running was actually my weakest one. So I just, just kept pushing myself. I didn't care what happened. And then I finished the whole race. And then it turned out that I was the first champion out of all the female category under 19 years old. And I
Wow.
was like, okay, I didn't even expect this. So it was just happened randomly like that. And when they called my name 3 times to the podium, I was not believing that happened.
Wow.
Uh, and yeah, that's where all the story began of getting all of these opportunities in life
This is crazy. With the wrong bike.
with the wrong bike.
Just for the sheer belief that you can. I love it. But it's not the only time. The other time, you actually finished with an injury as well.
Yes,
Tell me that story too.
we're going to go through the story again.
Yes.
So in that moment, it was my one of my biggest race in Australia, and that was actually the moment where they would decide either I can go to the Olympic or not. And I was training so hard for that. I was 17 in that moment, just turned 17. So we flew to Australia with all the sponsorships that I received, and also one of them was Jetstar Australia. So it was a big pressure for me to, like, make it count, or you're failure. So I was having that thought of my whole life, like, okay, gotta make it count, because if it's not, then I'm going to lose everything, because it's like my only ticket to really change my life. So we flew to Australia, and I remember that my triathlon coach from Australia, who also happened to train me, and for free, like, because he wanted really to help me and support me, this young athlete out of nowhere from the island. And then he took me to the doctor, because he's been also checking in with me for the past couple of months before the race. So he took me to the doctor. That also was part of the sponsorship. Then the doctor told me that I wouldn't be able to race because I had the stress fracture on my leg. So he was giving me the option of either I stop, like now, like not skip the race, but then I will be able to come back stronger again, or I race, but then I will probably won't be able to do sport anymore, because he was just so bad that it's probably going to really hurt me in many ways. And I was like, okay, all of these things just keep coming to me. I don't know what is this, but then there's always this power that came, from myself, that is just like so strong, that told me, like, everything happens for a reason. Your struggle makes a good story, so you're gonna do this. Especially you have all of these people waiting at home, my dad and all of these sponsorships. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let this to ruin me, and I'm gonna do it. I even told the doctor, like, I'm gonna do this, and he said to me, but it's not gonna be good, and you probably wouldn't be able to do this anymore. I said, no, like, what matters is right now, and the future doesn't matter to me. So I'm gonna do this. And so the next 5 days, it was the race happened. I swam again in the cold water. It was cold for me, 17 degrees. It was cold.
Australia is cold.
Yes, and especially with having that injury with the cold, it was massive, the pain, but I just kept on going. And then there's something that I also experiencing after during the race, which I discovered after the race, what happened actually in my body, and it was something that I've been using my entire life, which is NLP, neuro linguistic programming. So it's the way how you communicate with yourself, that you use a lot of positivity, positive words that you use for yourself, and that your brain is listening to that, which gives this nice endorphins into your body. And that's why you're experiencing this highest level of energy that is like really pushing you and help you to go through some hard moments, and that's something that happened to me during the race. Like I just did the whole race, swim, bike, and run, and I remember each of the time I felt the pain was just like wanting to, you know, make me stop, but I did not stop. And I just kept telling myself, if I have to actually die in this race, it's okay, I'm gonna do it, you know? I wanted to show myself that I'm not a person that likes to give up easily. And there's always this amazing quote that stick with me, that the real champion is not a person who wins the whole time, but it's a person who never gives up. And that motto really helped me out. And then again, like finishing the race, I really didn't expect that was me again to be the first champion out of my age group, which is under 18 years old. Wow. And then I was like, what happened, you know? And it was also, there's a funny, interesting story that it was because of this big race that I thought that I wouldn't even be able to win the race. So we booked the ticket right away. So after the race, we booked the ticket right away, and I didn't even get the chance to get my trophy and all of that, because there was just like this. It was like a test. It's either I can go for the Olympic or not. It was like I didn't even think that I'm gonna win. So the trophy is still there.
Okay,
Yeah.
I need to go pick it up someday.
I don't know. Maybe it's gone already.
Yeah. So did you go to Olympic?
No, I did not go, because that is actually an interesting question that you asked, and a lot of people been asking me the same question, why I didn't go. And I made a decision in my life when I was 18, after graduating from school, that I think the Olympic itself doesn't, maybe it was like a way for me to prove myself that I can achieve that. But then I realized that it's not the Olympic itself that is so important to me. It's all of this journey that I went through, and that I managed to somehow pick up myself to overcome these challenges. And let's just say that I had a different plan. So I made a different plan, that I wanted to create my businesses, because I know that I don't want to be like end up doing the whole thing, and then later when I stop competing, and then what? I wouldn't, have certainty in my life. So I want to go back to my previous idea. So I went back to that idea of having this moments of racing and getting sponsorships and training hard and everything, is to build my discipline, and to have this ticket of being like, to be able to create my something that I would love to do in the future, which is, to finance. And so it was about the time, and I made the decision when I was 18, like, now this racing is probably now it ended here, but then I'm probably gonna come back later. So now I want to focus on my building my businesses, because I want to really use my youth life into achieving something more that is not just the race itself.
Okay,
Yes.
interesting. Your life is short of a crazy, crazy movie. um, I want to talk about your dad. I think, from what I know, he plays a huge, huge role. And I want to start talking about your dad from the time when you saw the advertisement of Green School, which is one of the best schools in the world, that costs huge amounts of money to enter. And you said, I want to go to that school. And then, with help of your dad, you were the first person to be able to get scholarship, full scholarship. Maybe the only one to get a scholarship in the school, which seemed impossible. Tell me that story too.
Yeah, to answer that question, I'm gonna start with the word of manifestation.
Okay.
And if you connected with this, and I do feel connected with this, and I'm also not a person that likes to share a lot of my spiritual side or things that I believe in or not, but I feel like growing up in this island of being exposed in the spirituality, it's something that has been in me, that is just like naturally gifted and in my everyday life, the way how I carry myself. And not a lot of people would be able to use that in a way that I'm probably able to use it, because it takes time and it takes a lot of courage to actually believe in that manifestation. And I was taught by my dad since I was a kid, in the way of how Buddha is um, transforming a lot of quotes that would actually help you to live your life better in your mind. And so I was using that manifestation of I keep telling everybody since Green School was opened, if I'm not wrong, 2011 or something like that. I said to everyone, I'm gonna go to this school and I'm gonna do it. Like, I already made my journey to go there, and everybody was like, "What are you talking about?" Even my own family, my dad's family was saying that, it's such an expensive school. Even if you have skills in swimming, all of these achievements, it still probably won't be possible. And this was the voice that I always heard around me. But my dad kept putting this positivity in me that you can do it, it's going to happen. And so I have that strong positivity that also came from my dad and also that I put in me. And it happened just by time. And I was 15, I graduated from my previous school, and I was looking for high school to enter. And in that moment, I remember also, like, everybody was turning their back on me, like nobody was helping me out, even though I was achieving so much in my career for the schools and for the community. And this all the schools were just like turning their back on me because they said, "Oh, you have to pay this. It doesn't matter how much you achieve in your swimming." And so I was like, okay. So I didn't actually go to school for the first 3 months when everybody started their school, and that was okay. So that's when I also started really pushing through my surfing journey, and just really took my time. Then we went to visit the Green School, my dad and I, and at some point we were like, okay, let's see what's gonna happen and see if we can apply the scholarship. So we applied for the scholarship also by the help with my family friend who happened to be a lawyer. They're Australian Indonesian, and they accompanied me and my dad to apply for the scholarship. And first they said that I wouldn't be able to get the full scholarship because they don't do that. They only do a few percent of scholarship. And in that time, my dad and I, we were looking at each other like, okay. My dad was ready to actually sell. I'm sorry. Um, he was ready to sell all his music instruments. That is also very important for him to work. And I told my dad, no, let's not do this. It's okay. I don't have to go to school. And I remember in that moment, I was praying to my mom to help me out, because I believe so much in this manifestation, and I believe so much that what is meant to happen, it's gonna happen. And I worked so hard for this, and I know there's going to be a way. And the lawyer who also helped me, they're really nice. They helped me to accompany me to, like, really trying to get this 100% scholarship from Green School. And then two weeks after, We went for another visit to actually find out what happened. And I remember in that moment, when I was doing the whole tour in the school, my dad and I, we found this powerful space. Probably, a lot of people who doesn't believe in this wouldn't believe in this, but we both really believe in this so much. And my dad said, "You have to pray in this place now." There was a big tree with all the offerings, and my dad said, we have to pray here." And so I prayed. I said, to the spirit that was there, I said, "Please help me out and give me a way if this is meant to be for me. But if this is not meant to be for me, please lead me to another to a better outcome." And then so we got the news right after that moment, and it turned out that they gave me the scholarship fully, and it's going to be the first and the last scholarship ever in the history of Green School. And oh, I don't know what. I didn't even know how to react in that moment. I was just so shocked that this whole thing is real, and look back into that moment, if it is really the manifestation, or it is really something that I've been working for. And it's actually both. It's a combination of both. It's that you believe in it so much and you work on it as well at the same time, and that made a huge outcome. And so yeah, it was a powerful experience for me. And
Wow. Yeah, you cannot not believe in those things once you hear those stories. This is incredible.
thank you.
Wow. I guess the other one person I want to talk about is your mom. She taught you three things you told me last time. What are those three things?
So before she passed away, 3 days before she passed away, she taught me three important skills in life. Number one is to how to ride the scooter, how to drive. And I just turned 14 in that moment, yeah, I was still 13. And number two, how to cook, to turn on the stove. Number three, to get money from the bank, because I used to have some scholarships coming in every month for my for myself, for training. So she taught me those three things: to ride, to turn on the stove, and to get money out of the bank. And I didn't realize why she told me that, but she did say to me, if I'm not around, you have to be able to do these three things. Um, and I was able to do those three things within 3 days. I learned that within 3 days, and then she passed away. And that gave me the answer of why she was telling me those three things. And yeah, so like every second of my life, I'm I always remember her, and she's the reason why I'm here today.
Wow. So do you think a lot of this drive you have is to not let her down as well? Just to make sure that it's all worth it?
Yes, definitely. Every day in my life, or every good things that happen in my life, I always thought of my mom. And in every challenges that I went through, I always thought of her, because I don't want to let her down. I want to make her um I'm sorry, I'm stuck with the word now.
Okay.
I want to make her journey, or her hard work, her love and care for me to count in this world. I feel like I'm representing her for everything that she's done for me, and I wanted to do it first is for myself because she always said that to me. Um, Yourself comes first, and for the other people who's supporting you or love you. Yeah.
Wow. To me, it's very interesting because everything is about perspective, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can be bullied in school and then say, "Oh, I'm such a loser," and whatever, or my skin is too dark. And then you could have an injury and say, "Well, I'm done," and not go for a journey. Or you can use all of those things as a driver to go and become stronger and stronger and stronger and keep on achieving. And it's all matter of perspective, how you see. So I think what you said, what I'm learning now is how you talk to yourself. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm so bad, I don't belong," you're actually you're actually fueling. It all fuels you to keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Am I getting it right?
Yes, you were absolutely right over there. Absolutely right. And believe me, it's not easy. And I know everybody's different. Everybody has their own personality, and depending how you grew up in, and it's also about a choice. I believe it's either you choose to drown and get and suck all of this negativity, or you choose to get up and you gotta suck it up and you gotta use that as your power. And in that case, I chose to suck it up because there's always this. I think it's also a mix of me that I want to really just desperately wanting to change my life, like
What it was in your life? You said it quite a few times. What was in your life that did not satisfy you?
something that did not satisfy me. That's a
What did you want to change so much? Like when you say, "Oh, I want to change my life," what was it that was like, "I cannot handle this anymore. I needed to change." What was it?
finance. I want to be able to experience some things and to be able to take care of my family, because we probably suffer a lot because we didn't get to experience many things that maybe others would experience. And on the other side also, it was so beautiful because then we get to connect with each other so well that it's like almost a team. So, and I had that a lot with my dad. I think it's almost like we created a team and we help each other and be there for each other. But it's not always a love, and it's not always perfect and everything. There's always pro and cons, and there's no such perfect life.
Yes.
There's nothing going to be perfect, and I learned that growing up, and I guess I just wanted to have the balance of being out there and also like experiencing the low sides of the little simple family. Yeah.
Beauty. I think it's a good time. Somebody might be watching this. Maybe it's a woman who maybe are from, I don't know, maybe they're poor, maybe they are from the country where they don't think there are opportunities, and they're watching us right now for a sheer coincidence, which is great.
Mhm.
What would you tell them?
Hmm. You know, no matter what you experience and how many challenges you may have gone through, never let yourself down and never tell anything bad to yourself because you never know. You never know if you don't try and if you don't believe in yourself. And just keep going because life is so short and you never know. Sometimes maybe you will get your opportunity, and sometimes you'll meet someone that would help you. Sometimes you, out of coincidence or destiny, you will find that moment where you feel like it's going to change, and that's what happened to me. And I just focus on keep doing what I love and keep going in my life and just not thinking about the past and the future.
That's a, I think that's a key, right? So you could have gone different way. I'm sure there's a lot of people in Bali who go to university or school and decide to Well, I hate being a doctor, but I will be a doctor. Like Indian people in India is very, very popular that the families just force their kids to go a certain path, for example, to being a doctor or being a computer software engineer. Well, you said, I like swimming and I'll make it work with the thing that I really like to do. And I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm just going to put all my energy to this one thing that I really, really care about. And I have no idea what's going to happen. And I think this is powerful because this is only one you, right? And if you would go a different route, you probably, the life would not open for you that much. But you just say,
Exactly.
you know what? I like swimming. I'm just going to go for it. And in the end, here you are.
Yeah. So always that passion, because that passion will lead you to be who you are, because if you don't connect with yourself, then you cannot be open and you are going to close all the opportunities. So to feel you and to feel like yourself is so important,
Yeah.
that it doesn't matter what you do. You could do the simple thing, but if you feel that yourself, and that's you, and that's you.
Yes. What do you do when things get really hard? Because, I mean, you can do what you love, but at some point it will be like, does it even make sense? Is it even real? Do I really like that? Because you will get into those everyday, mundane, routine things not going your way, and you feel like, I guess, losing it all.
Yeah,
What do you say to yourself in those moments?
I can do it.
Oh,
That's always been my mantra.
you even have a brand that also says I can do it.
Yes, and that's where the idea came from, and that's why that brand was born, because I want to make people believe in that, and when they wear the clothes, they can feel that confidence in themselves, and that's something that helped me out, and that's something I would like to share.
Beautiful. Let's talk about business because now your new journey, you went from being a competitive athlete to being a businesswoman, a true hustler, we could even say. So, how does your athletic achievements and what you went through translate to the business side of you?
I think there's always been the hustle, as you mentioned, in me, that discipline, that courage, and that wanting to achieve that adrenaline. And so, yeah, transitioning from being a professional athlete to businesswoman, it has quite same different journey, I would say. The difference is that, of course, I don't think about, oh, I'm gonna win that race, but this is a different win. I'm gonna achieve this goal, or like this much, or this type of moment in my life or in my business. And it was hard, you
Yeah.
know? It was hard. It was like a way of me to also start it again from the beginning, to build my business from zero, and to make it work. It's
Yes.
all about making it work. And in the beginning, I really started from scratch, really from scratch, from nothing. And I just put my dedication and discipline of um, of that to achieve what I needed to achieve. So, can you repeat the question again, please?
Tell us what you do now. What's your, you have clothing brand, you have a dance school.
Yes. So I started with swimming academy, and then I started with the clothing brand, and now I started with the dancing school that happened last year. And each journey was always the same, started from scratch and made it work. And this last journey that I had was with the dancing school that I opened last year. It was quite interesting because I found myself in that moment where I had to make it work, because if I didn't make it work, then it's kind of like, then it's the end. It was like it was like a way when I was in back in the race. It
Yes.
was interesting to see that. And I put all my investment into it, and I'm like, you know what? This is another race, so let's do this. if it's
Nice.
if it's going to fail, no, it cannot fail. I have to do this. I have to make it work. So it was a lot of hustles through the night, losing lots of sleeps, and also like trying to juggle the other two businesses that I already have and was already running. So it's kind of like covering everything up for this new business. And I would say that I learned so much in in the business, but in a different way. Like I grow so much of being myself, and also like how to make things work when things doesn't work, like how to overcome that when it didn't work, and when you're stuck, and when you just feel like everything just crumbling down, and I have that and this, and like, no, let's do this. It was like a different problem from losing at the race. And now, like, when I'm losing, but then I have so many other responsibilities that I have to cover up.
Yes.
So yeah.
I used to do triathlons before. I
Hmm.
completed Ironman, so I can consider myself to know a little bit about triathlons, and I know a little bit about business. And if I compare for myself two of them, I personally find that doing sports at certain degrees easier because there is a path to it and you need to show up. And if you
Hmm.
show up and if you keep on doing what needs to be done and you have a discipline,
Hmm.
then success to some degree is kind of guaranteed. Yes, you might not
Hmm.
go to Olympics, you might not be gifted, but if you find a sport that you're good at and you keep on showing up
Hmm.
and you don't skip anything, you eat properly, essentially, eventually you'll get where you need to get.
Hmm.
When I try to translate it to business, it doesn't really work that way for one reason. There is no clear path most of the time.
Hmm.
Somebody already might have done it, but there's always something unknown happens. So
Yes.
it's like you are creating your training program every single week from scratch, and then you're kind of moving, and then you find the stuff doesn't work, and then you have to recreate your training program all the time.
Exactly.
And I personally, I want to hear your opinion, but I find that business is harder. I think I'm kind of better at business than triathlons, 100%,
Hmm.
but I find that business is way harder for that
Hmm.
reason because it's so unpredictable.
Yeah. It's so true. I agree with you. It's harder than sport. But I must say that I was lucky because I was already having similar mentality of being, as an athlete, because I was not just there to race, but I was there kind of like I have to make it count, because all this money that literally there was a time where we had to choose, it's either we go to the swimming pool to pay the entry pool, or we use this for food, so that
Wow.
like there was a few times, actually a lot of time, we were battling in that situation. And so it was, so for me to overcome the challenges in business, it was not a shock for me. I was already lucky enough to be able to overcome that, and to be like, suck it up, this is just another experience, and
Yes.
I'm gonna make it work, I'm gonna figure it out a way. But I agree with you, because things are just so unpredictable. Like, you plan something, and then something else happened. So something that I learned from that is that when you do something, always think of the worst.
Yes.
So like, you prepare for the worst.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, discipline definitely pays off because in business you also need to show up,
Hmm.
have a discipline. Another thing that's interesting to me is you're achieving some business success now, and once you do it, for many people they become comfortable. So, okay, once you're hungry and once you are deciding if I go to swim versus I eat, this is completely different situation from, for example, you're an Olympic gold medalist with bunch of money and you can eat anywhere you want, and now you
Hmm.
have to choose,
Hmm.
do I go and eat in this fancy restaurant or do I go swim?
Hmm.
And some people might choose to be comfortable, and a lot of
Hmm.
athletes struggle with that, but a lot of business people struggle with it too. I struggle with myself
Hmm.
when I'm hungry and I don't, my business not going well. I wake up, I show up, and
Hmm.
I get it done. But I
Hmm.
reach certain point where I'm like, things are going so well, I might just chill. Do you have that, or the fire is never stopping?
Yes, I do have that, but nowadays I am also really prioritizing myself and my well-being, you know, mentally and physically, because that's also is the cover of to show up better for yourself,
Yeah.
to make yourself feel way better. And I do definitely feel the difference when, let's say, if I'm not eating or like if I'm not working out and, you know, taking care of my physical being, I won't have the same drive as what I have now. So I always try to balance between business and taking care of my well-being,
Yeah.
because if you're not well, then you cannot show up better.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay. That's good. Burning out. Did you experience burnout before?
Oh yes. Yeah, a few times, definitely. Like there was just time when I'm like, I just I just don't want to see anyone and I just want to disappear, you
Yeah.
know? Like just not having a good mood and just so constantly feeling exhausted. Waking up in the morning, I'm already feeling exhausted and I feel just like I had moments when I was like, oh my gosh, is this a good idea? Like, is this, am I on the right path? But then again, like, the moment when I had those kind of questions, because you're always gonna have these questions in your mind, like, and I'm not a perfect person who always so positive that everybody was, uh, you know, assuming like, oh, you're so positive and you always look good and everything. No, I have my low moments that you don't see, that people don't see, and I have those moments a lot,
Yeah.
and it is very difficult to always overcome those moments. But with time you learn how to get better at reacting to certain moments, and that you pick up yourself back at it again and always going back to the first question, am I why did I do this and why did I start in the beginning? And then so that drive just came back again, that power came back again to like, okay, you know, it's okay, I just need to take a little moment to rest and then I'll come back stronger.
Yeah, it's a great question to understand your why.
Yeah.
There are times where we look back and we don't understand our why, and I think that's where you need to change. But same in sport, right? I assume you experienced burnout while competing as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, so many. I mean, during those moments and in my childhood, starting from 7 all the way up until my mom passed away, my dad was very hard on me. And I think that's also the reason why I got my very hard discipline, and like my discipline was on point, compared to other kids, for example, in the age. Because my dad was like on the clock the whole time. He's like, you gotta do this. And I know the reason why he wanted to do that. It's one, because he wanted to see me succeed and also be strong. And also on the other side, he knows that like he has to make it work because he already puts everything on it. You know, like he literally chose me over everything. He chose this swimming because he knows that I'm it's my passion and I can make it work.
Wow.
So it was also winning, like wanting to win the whole race the whole time. It was also a little bit of thought of being like, I don't want to get my dad mad. Yes, of course. There was that moment like that, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
something about raising kids like that, I really respect it. I have two kids, right? So I go back and forth. I'm like, sometimes I look at my kids and they're like, oh, they have their own routines and they
Mm-hmm.
do things. Sometimes I'm like, they definitely are missing discipline because
Mm-hmm.
yes, right now we can go and have all this fun, but when they grow up, which happened to me, I was given everything I wanted at some point, and when I grew up, I'm like, well, everything's supposed to come.
Mm-hmm.
Why is nothing coming?
Mm-hmm.
When nobody's in supporting me, I'm like, what am I gonna do now? And you're
Mm-hmm.
so used to this way that things just come
Mm-hmm.
completely opposite to you,
Mm-hmm.
and I sometimes need that drive,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to sabotage everything I have to put myself in a situation where there's no way out, so I can get this drive in me, so I can start going. And I believe if you raise your kids more into like, if you want something, you have to earn it.
Yeah.
And nothing is given. You're having this food, that's why when we sit down with kids, we always say, thank you for the food, thank you for the water, because nothing is really given. And explaining it to kids are hard, Especially like I really love my kids. I
Mm-hmm.
spoil them like
Mm-hmm.
like nothing. They're like, ah, daddy, let's go. Especially my daughter, she can just pull my strings and she'll get whatever she needs. But I force myself to be like, guys, this food is not given. We work for the food. We work for the house, and that's why I really respect the way that you're telling about your dad. Yes, looking back, probably you're saying that was the right thing because it made you who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. In that moment, I'm like, I can like in that moment I feel like I didn't have a good connection with my dad because I always see him as this person of like it's like a thing that just like threatened to you, you know,
Yeah.
at the same time. And I know now the reason why he does that. And I also figured out like since my mom passed away, he became way softer. And I think also that was a moment for him to realize that I am now able to put everything that he taught me about discipline into me, that I'm becoming somebody. And he probably kind of like lost his guard to be like on the clock the whole time. Yeah.
How did he feel about you not going to Olympics?
I think there was a side of him probably maybe a little bit disappointed, but there was also a side of him of proud of me because I chose something that is going to help me a lot also for my future, which is creating my own business and like started to hustle because I already started to hustle since I was 15. So
Yes.
he knows that very, very well about me. Since my mom passed away, it was like a way for me to like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, get away from the pain. And he noticed that, so he kind of let me to choose what I want to do, as long as I am, not doing anything bad like drugs or anything. But I don't know, maybe if I was not somebody like I am now, I don't think my dad would say something, but I know that he's going to be very disappointed. So,
And what about yourself? Right now, you're going to the pool. Do you have the thought about, oh, I used to choose between food and the pool, and you have certain appreciation for what you have?
oh yes, definitely. To be honest, I really cherished that moment so much because it taught me a very valuable method to be always grateful and appreciate things, or like, let's say, even if I can afford to go to a fine dining or like to nice restaurants and all of this, I always, remember to, oh, I'm so grateful. So like, yeah, like it feels different. Like I think the hustles, there's always the hustle before and now,
Yeah,
but right now it's a different hustle that I'm experiencing. So, yeah.
yeah. New, next new levels of
Mm-hmm.
hustle. Yeah, it's interesting. I think discipline really connects to gratitude. If you are not disciplined and you go and eat and fine dining every day, there's no gratitude for the food that you're
Of
having.
course. Yeah.
If you go out, I used to go out every day and I would hated it. I'm like, what am I talking about? Why am I hating good? Like I can choose to eat at home. It was like dark moments in my life. But now I actually don't. I don't go out. I mostly cook at home. I have this very simple life. But now when I go out, it's a completely different experience. Like, wow, this is so great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same restaurant I would go before. I can probably go there anyway, but I choose not to because I choose a
Mm-hmm.
discipline to be able to go there at the times where it's really important.
Yes,
And then you feel the gratitude.
I agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not only about how much you have, it's about what you choose and how disciplined you are. And
Yeah.
discipline in small things.
Yes.
In like, okay, I really want to go there. Let me do something so I can earn to do it.
Yeah.
And then you're
Definitely.
grateful.
Definitely. Because then it's not going to be exciting anymore if life is just so perfect and everything just so easy. I think that's something that I always imagine. Like if you just have everything so easy, it's just like And then what are you gonna do? Like, because there's no drive of like trying to figure things out, or like give yourself a small gratitude, or like, go somewhere nice and get yourself a nice watch or nice shoes,
Yeah, yeah,
something like that. That's like, yeah, that's the achievement, right?
for sure. The last thing I want to talk about is something we discussed before during the coffee. Uh, what you do might seem very masculine. You're like, I'm hustling, I'm achieving, I'm showing up. So people who might look not knowing you say, wow, this is so masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this feminine side of Swenia is growing?
Right. Yeah, actually, probably some people thought that way, and I also had some comments like that, in my posts and everything like that, because I'm always this person that people see, or Balinese woman that people see of like doing business and that, and this is always like on top of everything. And for some people, maybe it's weird because if you think about a Balinese woman in your head, you're like, okay, Balinese woman is going to the temple and do all of these ceremonies, but I'm quite the opposite of that. And you always need both sides of masculine and femininity. And my feminine side is when I create something and making it work, and the softness of having that things are on schedules, and my masculine side is when I'm making it work, and the discipline, the hard work, and this positive words that I always tell myself to, like, okay, I have to figure this out, and not crumbling around and not sitting around. But the feminine side is when I make that creation. So, for example, like small example of my dance school, the whole operational, the management and the decision making is the masculine part, but the art and the creation of the class, the performance, the costumes is when the feminine side needs to arise.
Beauty.
So,
Wow. So for somebody who is sitting out there unhappy, judging you and saying, "You Balinese woman should sit at home and do whatever," what comes through your mind? How do you deal with these comments? I guess with this negativity that come your way that people don't understand who you are.
back in the days when I was a teenager, I actually had this comment on my post. An expat, an expat was commenting on my racing posts in triathlon. He was like, "You shouldn't be doing this. You're a Balinese girl who needs to do offering and that and this." And of course, it was triggering for me. First of all, it's a grown-up man and an expat, and I'm just Balinese girl. So I got triggered because then it came back to my trauma of like somebody's telling me what I can't do. So it was really triggering. But now that I look back into that question, I am understanding that the way I see it is that is this person is just so unhappy, and people just grow up differently, and they're just so, again, like going back into like having everything just so easy, and there's no things to do in life, and then they start talking about other people because they feel so self insecure about themselves.
Yeah.
Now that I look back, I actually feel sorry for those people. So all I can say, I just smile. I don't have to say anything.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, put nice comments. You put not nice comments, we'll just feel sorry for you.
Honestly, whatever you do, no matter what you do, there's always going to be a comment. People will always talk about you. People will always say things about you, and whatever you can.
Actually, more than that, if you don't do anything, people are gonna judge you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do something,
Something.
people are gonna judge you. So there's no judging.
Yes,
Judging is just constant.
exactly. So
So we need to care less.
exactly, and just keep moving forward, and just yeah, care less, and just
Yeah,
like I learned so much about which are important, which doesn't important, like which one actually serves my time
yeah.
and which actually doesn't, serve
Awesome.
my time. So
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank
thank
you
you
for
so
coming.
much.
That's very cool. All right. Bye. Bye bye.
Bye.